working with other people, choosing your managerial approach, how to lead teams, run meetings, build your network, and tell business stories. So this is like a taster of some of the kind of areas that I think are most particularly valuable. And some of my very favourite frameworks are in here as well. So let's get cracking. First one, working with other people. So I think in order to collaborate effectively, the first thing that you need to do is just to recognise and acknowledge that different people have different types of personalities and like working in different ways. Just acknowledging that is the good head start. And that helps you to recognise those differences and, where necessary, where appropriate, to adapt how you engage with people. And there are lots, you'll have come across lots of personality profiling things, I'm sure, over your life, actually. But I find this one, I'm particularly proud of the way I put it together, actually. And it's there are several ones similar to this. And because I think the simpler the better, because they can be more easily applied. And so if you, broadly, there are these sort of tendencies. One, let's start at the top, getting it right. I'm just going to crib from my own book, actually, to remember. Yeah, so you can tell people who like to get it right because they have a focus on, they're very measured. They tend to be quite logical and precise and often succinct and like facts and figures. There are also some behavioural traits of people who tend to be like this, tend to be a little bit less tactile, not always, but sometimes less likely to maintain eye contact, things like that. So you've got that sort of trait. Then you've got the trait on the right, and I've tried to just banging, it's a bit aggressive really, but anyway, putting your fist down sort of thing, maybe too aggressive, which is where the focus is on getting it done. That sense of urgency. They tend to be quite authoritative figures, the people who are strong on this trait. More confident, firm handshake, that kind of behaviour. Then you have the third one, which is people who love learning new stuff, experimenting with new stuff, innovating. They love, they're very energetic, usually quite charismatic, keen to explore and talk too much. As you can tell already, I lean in that direction very much myself. And then finally, there's getting on well. And this is people who have a strong trait in being welcoming, nurturing, enjoy harmony, are very sociable, etc., and tend to bring people together. So hopefully you'll recognise those four traits. And I thought we'd do a quick poll now, where if you could vote on which of these four tendencies you personally identify more strongly with. So hopefully...
So we've got the poll open, so we'll just give it a few more moments for everyone to answer. But just so the audience knows, we will have Q&A at the end. So please, if you do have any questions throughout this webinar, please type them in. Obviously, we'll put forward the questions just down on the Q&A section. So we're pretty much there, so I'll close the poll.
Wow, that was quick. That's good.
And share the results with you. You should see them on your screen now.
Yeah, thanks, Paul, I can. Yeah, okay, so, right, getting it right and getting on well are the two slightly bit higher than getting it done and getting somewhere new. Quite a balance, actually. That's good. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense given the profile of people I expect who are on this group, but also it's a good balance. I have been in businesses and teams where everyone is in the top one or two, and that's not always very effective. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So that's brilliant. Thanks very much for that, Paul. Oh, I should say as well, these aren't like categories. It's not like I'm a getting it right person through and through. People vary depending on circumstances and settings, could evolve a bit over time, and also you can have elements of one and others. Have a preference in one or two areas, not just one. But yeah. Now, the reason, obviously this kind of profiling can be very helpful to your own personal development, but I particularly like this framework for using it to help you work well with other people. Now, the very best thing you can do if you want to work well with someone is to get to know them. Just ask them questions, find out what their priorities are, find out the ways they like to work. Ask them directly in many cases. And I would always recommend that's the best thing you can do, especially when you first work with somebody. However, it's sometimes useful in business to sort of sense which of these personality traits someone has, particularly like in new business, when you're trying to persuade someone of something, but you don't know them well enough yet and you haven't had a chance get to know them. In which case, by using those behavioural traits, like and the sense that you get, you can sort of maybe predict what kind of person they are. And even if you don't, and even if later on you do find out, this next grid is extremely useful if you have a sense of other people and what their traits are, because how you handle people should and can vary dramatically depending on their preferences. So, for example, if you want to persuade someone, then if you're trying to talk to a getting it done type personality, you focus on the end result. But if you want to persuade someone who's getting on well, you might persuade them by talking about how great it will feel when the whole team works together to succeed in whatever it is. So a very different angle, even if it's the same thing you need to persuade someone to actually get on with. What's another good example? Yeah, in terms of what you should respect, always for someone who gets it right, often they can be more private people, so respect that. Whereas someone who likes to get somewhere new, you should respect their kind of hunger to express themselves. Give them platforms to do that. And look, set objectives. That's just, I could go on. I could go on and on about this slide because I find it so useful. But for example, give responsibility for. If you want someone who likes getting it right, give them responsibility for accuracy in a project. If it's getting on well, give them a responsibility maybe within the team to help the team development, etc. Anyway, you can look at this at your leisure in recording.